So we got Pokemon Legends Arceus, which I thought was fun, if not flawed. You have Pokemon Scarlet and Violet, which is fun, if not flawed. And now you have PLZA, which is fun, if not flawed. Wow, they've gone for a baby, a triple. So I've been playing Pokemon Legends ZA for a while now, about 20 hours or so in the game. I'm at the point where I'm getting my promotion to D rank. I'm at E rank at the moment. So that's how far I am for anyone who's played the game so far. And I just wanted to yap my thoughts about it. I've been live streaming the whole thing on the main channel. The only reason I've not been live streaming it here is because I've wanted to avoid all leaks and spoilers with reckless abandon. Like, it's to the point where I don't even know what megas are in this game yet. I have no idea. I don't know who the story characters in the game. I have literally kept myself as blind as possible. So I wanted to stream over on my main channel where the people understand it's a bit more spoiler-free there, you know? I've had enough people wander in and ask exactly how I'm feeling about the game so far, so I've written some notes down and decided to do a bit of a first impressions. There's not going to be too much in the way of fancy visuals here, so feel free to stick me in your pocket and get those dishes done or stack those crates up at work. Play that game of Fortnite. I'll have a bit more of a comprehensive review once I'm done, but here are my thoughts so far. While Game Freak does not get the respect it deserves considering the franchises are brilliant dollars, I still think what they do with the games regardless are still very, very good. Arceus was the game that won me back in the series after Sword and Shield lost me, and Scarlet and Violet, for all its faults, that combined with its DLC is probably my top 3 favorite Pokemon game of all time. So I went into this with optimism, cautious optimism, but optimism. And I think I got exactly what I expected. Notable flaws, but ultimately a lot of fun in a game I'm having a lot of trouble putting down. So I broke this up into sections, so let's go through the first one, which I've titled The City of Lumiose, which I think it's fair to say it definitely doesn't have the same hype and feel and aura as Place Feudal Japan Hisui. But the big flaw of that game is that it just didn't have a lot of battles, which made sense in the story of the game, but I just wanted a bit more battling. And this game had exactly that. Before we talk about that, let's talk about the daytime aspect. During the day, you'll be exploring the city of Lumiose, doing side quests, chilling in a cafe, and more importantly, catching Pokemon in the designated wild zones. The wild zones themselves are okay. Do you know how, like, the initial thought was, oh, you're just going to go inside an area and catch some Pokemon? Doesn't it seem very neat? That seems to be the going thoughts from a lot of people. And I was more of a, come on, let's see how it plays out, you know? Maybe it's a bit more interesting than it looks on. It's not really, unfortunately. Now, don't get me wrong, I love the legend style of catching, so I was always going to love an area where you can catch stuff. But I was really hoping a bit more cohesive, a bit more meat on the bone. And from the wild zones I've explored so far, which I think I've got the first 12 unlocked, it has just been, oh, here's just a small chunk of area, catch some Pokemon for a bit. Now, don't get me wrong, the lore behind them is pretty neat. Like, they really wanted to commit to this idea of people and Pokemon living together, and the CEO seems to be doing it in a haphazard sort of way, if the professor's anything to go by. But it's a shame that the gameplay also feels haphazard too, you know? Or should I say the implementation? Like, yeah, Pokemon can still attack you, and you can black out if you're not careful. But being able to cheese it by leaving whenever you want via some translucent barrier, it doesn't hit nearly the same panic as calling the Hisuian bravery and flying off with the swiftness, you know? And of course, with the city of Lumiose comes Kalos' strongest aspect, the fashion sense. If you like playing dress up, which is something I didn't realize I liked doing until my older age, I'll be honest with you, the game has not left me disappointed. Some of the stuff is pretty pricey as well, which I really like. It's not just as simple as, oh, everything costs like $1,000, so you can quickly just grind up a bunch of money and dress up however you want. There'll be instances where, like, I saw something that was really expensive, and I deliberately went out to find some battles and grind out the cash to get it. And it just feels all the more satisfying when you're wearing something that you spend quite a bit of cash on, you know? So having the money be a bit more than just buying balls and healing items is just really neat too, and I absolutely love the dress-up options on offer. Also, they're not gender-locked, so if that's something you were worried about, don't worry about that. You can dress all femboy delicious if you want. There's even that one shop that I found that was like really snobby and wouldn't let me in because the fit wasn't hard enough. And yeah, I only cried for about 20 minutes. As for the side quests, I haven't done too much of them, so I'm going to quickly gloss over this really, but as a whole, I am glad they've returned. Having something else to do in the gameplay loop to vary up the gameplay is just pretty nice. And while there are definitely a good chunk of them I played so far, which is get me this thing or get me this Pokemon, I have done enough that were quirked up that I'm at least intrigued in doing more. Like, I had one that there was some random guy that was like, oh, hey, there's this Froakie of mine, and I bet he's faster than you at climbing this scaffolding, so I kind of have to do a bit of weird platforming to beat this guy's Froakie. And then he runs away, and then I have to do it again. I just thought it was really funny and quirky. And these are the kind of side missions I want in my video game. I just want them to be weird. Because, like, side missions are, by design, never going to be as cool as main missions. Because, obviously, Why would they be side missions when they should be main missions? Just make them like quirky and memorable. Like there was another one where some guy was like, hey, if you got a buddy, follow me. And then you follow him, and then there's like a buddy rating contest where like there's a bunch of old people going, yes, this buddy seems really... And I was just like, what is happening right now? So yeah, just be strange and memorable if you're not going to be at least quite interesting, you know? I won't say whether I like them as a whole or not yet, but they definitely got me intrigued, and I can't wait to do more and talk about them in a more comprehensive review. But of course, once nighttime strikes, you'll get to battling. Firstly, I'm a big fan of the whole loop, as I said. I really just want to emphasize how cool the gameplay loop is of catch stuff and chill during the day and battle stuff at night. Well, the battle system has really intrigued me so far. With cooldowns replacing PP, battles feel very fast-paced, which I'm already just a big fan of. Even if it didn't really make much of a difference being able to dodge attacks, just having it be fast-paced was already good enough for me. At first, it seemed like that was all there was to do, but having played a bit more, it's got some decent depth to it. With moves either being close range or long range, some moves like Fire Spin and Whirlpool creating area control, U-turn quickly repositioning your Pokemon. As I've progressed in the game, I've learnt more moves that cause a bit more interesting effects, so I'm learning a bit more about how the game clicks, especially as the NPC trainers also start using a bit more interesting moves too. I've started to see what clicks, you know? I don't know if this is how I'd want the main series to be forever. I don't know if I'm married to the system particularly yet, but definitely a nice change of pace, and I think you'd enjoy it if you were to give it a try. The whole system of having to rank up by battling trainers to earn enough points for a promotion match to the next tier is really neat, and you get to make some really strange characters this way. I'm going to reach rank and abolish... Hang on, I skipped past it so fast. And abolish all forms of transit in Lumiose, except taxis. Oh my god. He's a taxi Nazi. We've got taxi Nazis before GTA 6. Which brings me on to the difficulty. Playing the second DLC of Scarlet and Violet proved to me, and basically anyone who played that Game Freak can really turn it up when they want to. They are more than capable of it. So I was really hoping the next game would lean into that, and so far in my 18 or so hours played, it's definitely ramped up quite nicely. In the trainers, you also have those rogue mega evolutions that you have to fight, and the ones I fought so far have been manageable, but very chaotic. It's one of those things where you can very easily get overwhelmed if you don't stay on your toes, and while I haven't wiped to one of those fights just yet, it wasn't as brainless as you might expect from a historically easy game series like Pokemon. It's about 3 or 4 hits until you wipe, so you really gotta stay on your toes, and things can escalate very quickly. I kind of just finished my rank F promotion battle and ended up losing that at first before realizing I had to bring my strongest mons, no exceptions. Even before that fight, there were fights where I just barely won or even just lost. Coupled with the game having bag access to heal on a cooldown means that there's no more potion spam, which makes for a difficulty level I'm very much vibing with halfway through the game. I will say as I progress through the game, it definitely seems like Megas have a lot more of a tangible effect on battles as you go forward. Like right now, I'm having to make sure I carry at least 2, if not 3 Pokemon that can Mega Evolve in my party, since Mega Evolution is just that much more important, gives you that much of a damage boost in fights. Which you might say hurts team variety, and I think it's true, it definitely does. But I think a game which is centered around Mega Evolution, committing to that as hard as it does, is at least a little bit interesting. For me, I'm always a big fan of any Pokemon game that tries to mix up the sort of core way the fans play games, you know? You have your star, you have 5 Pokemon of varying different types, none of them overlap. You might be able to plan out your team as you play, but in this game is like, well, you can do that, but Megas are so important, not having at least 2 of them is gonna be a rough ride, you know? And you're talking to somebody who likes Colosseum, which is a game of just like, oops, all Johto Pokemon. And I find it interesting how like the game essentially forces you to use a region's worth of Pokemon that aren't really as good as some of the later games. So having a game fully commit to the theme of Mega Evolution by making you carry more than you probably think that is capable, or should I say carry more than you probably think you should, has very much intrigued me. And I'm interested to see how it pans out. I'm hoping it doesn't get too restrictive with the team building, but if it stays as it is now, which is I feel like I need at least 2 Megas on rotation in each team slot, or in each party of 6, should I say, then I'm kind of happy with that. Bro, you're not getting the Haas? Fuck you! And last but not least, I wanted to talk about the story so far. I've always been a proponent of the idea that Pokemon doesn't really need much of a story to be successful. One of the best parts of a series like Pokemon is that you can get to catch the Pokemon that resonate with you the most, and you get to make your own stories as you play the game, you know? Coming from Gen 1, which was very non-linear, where the story was more so the Pokemon you met along the way and the narrow victories that you made and the handy victories you got along the way, or finally thwarting that rival that was one step ahead of you, it really makes me yearn for a modern Pokemon game that doesn't really have much in the way of narrative. wave. But of course, Game Freak since Gen 3 has been insistent on wanting to tell a story. So if you are going to tell a story, all I have to ask is one question. Is it at least interesting? PLA's was serviceable with a very memorable ending fight. SV's was pretty good overall with a really memorable ending segment. And PLZA so far is shaping up to be pretty good too. Having replayed SV quite recently, I never noticed how fun the dialogue in that game was, especially with some of the NPC trainers you fight in between cities. I don't have any off the top of my head, but there was definitely some really quirked up bits of dialogue that I just thought were really funny. And it seems to be more of the same with PLZA. It definitely doesn't seem that way at first. It does that same thing that Scarlet and Violet does, where there's about an hour to 2 hours of intros and meeting people before the game finally lets you off the leash to explore and let you play. And from my personal experience as someone who doesn't mind reading Pokemon dialogue or just dialogue in video games in general, it definitely got a bit button mashy towards the end. If you are playing the game yourself, by the way, when you go to the Looker Bureau and learn about side quests and Emma teaches you about Mega Evolution, that's the point where the game starts to let you off the leash, so just bear that in mind. So you have a core group of friends in Team MZ. You got Urbane or Tawny, depending on your gender, Naveen and Leader, along with AZ himself. And once the story gets going proper, every single time you win a promotion match, you end up going back to home base to celebrate. And in later parts of the game, there's also certain strategies that your team wants to do, so you end up meeting for a team-based strategy too. So if the game was going to insist on you like working together with these friends the same way that they insisted that you work together with Shauna, Tierno, and Pokedex Kid, and then Rival, I don't remember all their names, X and Y's friend group fucking sucked. The least I ask is at least make them interesting, at least make them memorable. And yeah, there's just something funny about them trying to hold a strategy meeting to stop some rogue Mega Evolutions. And they start thinking about how they could market the hotel in the meantime. Like, one of them has a streamer that they've fallen in love with, or fallen in love with, but one has a streamer that they really like watching, and they went live in the middle of the meeting, so they were talking about that instead. And just like Trevor, one of them's a dancer too, so you got that going for them. Like I said, the characters are at least written interestingly enough or quirked up enough, where anytime I have to go to home base for a strategy meeting or I've got a promotion game, I'm at least not wincing or crying that I have to talk to them, you know what I mean? I feel like they're at least charming enough in their own ways where you at least enjoy them. And not to mention some returning faces from old, or just the one so far, should I say, will definitely have you reeling. Oh, and also they played into the whole streamer angle with Iono, but like made it way funnier, by the way, like way funnier. Like it's actually really unbelievable what they're doing so far. So yeah, all in all, having a decently fun time with the narrative, and I'm definitely curious to see what they cook up next. I'll save my thoughts overall for a comprehensive review, but yeah, I'm enjoying my time with them. And that's all I really have to say so far. In regards to the new Megas I've seen, if you also want to remain unspoiled, I guess you can skip ahead now. But as of now, I have seen Mega Embor, Mega Feraligatr, which was my starter, Mega Drampa, Mega Electros, and Mega Excadrill. These are the new ones I've seen, bar the ones, you know, from the trailer, so obviously Victory Bell, Holucha, etc. And I think so far, Mega Drampa is probably my favorite. I was really not expecting it. I was getting mad Shenron vibes. The almighty dragon from Dragon Ball Z, you know? Excadrill just being like, having just a big fuck-ass drill, really cool. Embor having a whole-ass staff that it spins, really leaning into the Emperor sort of vibe, you know? And then Feraligatr just having like a lid. I don't know, I'm just basically in love with all the Megas so far. There isn't a single one of them that I hate, and in all fairness, it does take a lot to make me hate a Mega, so I'm very much enjoying the new Megas so far. Bit of a shame there's only the new Pokemon, like it's all just Megas, there's no actual new Pokemon, but at least not so far, but I'm very much enjoying it. So yeah, I'll definitely have something a bit more comprehensive down the line. I'll definitely refine my takes later down the line when I finish the game and finish the story, but those are my thoughts on PLZA so far. If it's someone who, just like me, started enjoying modern Game Freak around the time of Arceus and SV, this is definitely more of the same. It's definitely not going to do anything to blow your mind. If you want more of the same Pokemon that you've had for like the last couple games, this will definitely fit your appetite. Oh, and also, as one final note, yes, this game desperately needs voice acting. One of the opening cutscenes is choreographed so well, and yet it's not voiced. Why do you not have voice? No, seriously, I know people have been complaining about that on the line, online forever. It needs voice act. Please, Game Freak, please give me voice acting. This dialogue is so good. This cutscene was so, the opening cutscene was so, please, Game Freak, please. Listen. Hello, hello. That's all I'm saying. Hello, hello. Are you gonna give her your chocolate croissant? Hey, oh, hey, more ref! Send him off! Send him off!